Hello and welcome to the Warren County Library's Upcycled Makers Club. My name is Sandy Roberts and I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the Warren County Library System. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are coming into Thanksgiving, and this is probably the most unusual Thanksgiving any of us have ever experienced. When I think of Thanksgiving, obviously we all have so many really wonderful family traditions, which may be disrupted this year. I know I'm doing a Zoomsgiving with my dad since he's had a heart attack and is a cancer survivor. We don't want to take any chances. So it'll be a very unusual, Thanksgiving. But one thing that I always think of on Thanksgiving is the Macy's Day Parade. My family always watched it because we really loved it. And in fact, I will never forget the time that my dad was able to get us tickets to some kind of corporate event he was invited to. And we got to dress up and be in a fancy hotel right on the street watching the balloons come by. And it was probably one of the most amazing experiences of my young life. I was probably like 12 years old, and I just felt like so, fancy being up there in a fancy ballroom looking out over these balloons. When I grew up and went off to college, I went to college in Hoboken. And what you may not know is that many of those balloons that make their way to New York for Thanksgiving are blown up and housed in places like Jersey City, Secaucus, and Bayonne, and Hoboken. I went to Stevens, and we had one of the few large fields at the time where they could actually take out the balloons and practice. And as a result, many Stevens students volunteered on Thanksgiving to actually walk the balloons down the avenue for the parade. So it's a fine tradition at my school, and it was always really exciting to see those balloons start to be blown up in advance and get a little sneak preview before the parade. And I have friends who continue to be part of that tradition every year. Now, this year is going to be a bit different for the parade and for everything else. They're not doing large crowds, of course, because that wouldn't be very safe. But as I understand, the parade will still go on, so I will certainly be watching on Thanksgiving morning with my family. But I thought, what a great opportunity to do something fun with our extended family since we can't be together this year. And I thought, why don't we make our own parade balloons for Thanksgiving and share them? This is something you can do as a table setting. This is something that you can do as kind of a over Zoom activity with your family, or just together. So my kids are really into Pokemon, so I made a little Pikachu balloon for Thanksgiving, and we're going to look at ways that we can take just craft supplies from around our house and make some fun centerpieces or some fun activities that we can do with our family to celebrate Thanksgiving this year. So let's talk about what you need in the way of supplies. And as a reminder, I am following along, so if you leave any comments, I will do my best to answer. So let's talk supplies here. Obviously, you're going to need some balloons, okay? Because you may want to draw on your balloons, I would suggest that you use better quality balloons. Don't go for the dollar store kind. Go for the kind that are maybe a little bit more expensive. I have found with the thinner, cheaper balloons, first off, inexpensive balloons has usually been sitting on the shelf for a while. They're dry, and the latex is not as strong, which means when you go to draw on them, they pop. And they're also thinner, same thing. If you're going to be adding to your balloon and drawing on your balloon, you're going to want a nice, fresh, high-quality balloon to work with. It's just a little less frustrating. You can get them, of course, in all kinds of different colors. You can also get different shapes. Like if you wanted, instead of doing Pikachu, I did his ears with a little bit of felt. If you wanted to do that with a little balloon stuck on there, you could get those longer balloons and stick on the ears that way. So you need some good balloons. I believe these are, let me double check before I say the wrong thing. Yeah, these are 9-inch. 12-inch work well. I personally don't like going any smaller than that because I want something that, that says big parade balloon, okay? So, obviously you're gonna need some balloons, and then it's really up to you. You will need some kind of adhesive, and this is important. Normally, I'm a hot glue girl, I'm a duct tape girl. Those aren't necessarily your best choices for this. Duct tape will certainly work, and because it comes in so many different colors, it's easy you know, to work with on just about any balloon because it's going to match really nicely and hide and kind of camouflage. So this works, but understand once you put it on that balloon, do not try to peel it off the balloon. There's a very good chance that the stickiness of this adhesive will pop your balloon. So use duct tape with caution. Hot glue, you cannot use at all. It will pop your balloon. End of story. Don't do it. Okay? Now, obviously, tacky glue, Elmer's glue, white glue, they'll all work, but you're going to have to give everything some time. That smooth, non-porous balloon surface is going to take a long time to dry, and of course you can't give it a little bit of a blow dryer to make it dry. Stick glue is a good option for lightweight things. If you're using feathers, if you're using construction paper or tissue paper, this is going to do everything you need. And one fun thing to do is to get out your tissue paper if you have some leftover from birthdays, because this is a great way to upcycle tissue paper that you may have laying around. And you can mosaic this, you can cut out shapes and glue them on, and you can make some really nice effects and add color to your balloon without having to draw directly on it using just stick glue and tissue paper. So tissue paper is a great choice, and stick glue is a great way to adhere it. Also good, like I said, for Google eyes, rhinestones, sequins, feathers, things like that. Your good old-fashioned stick glue is going to do a great job. Now, things like these ears, they're a little heavier. So what did I do? Can you see that? I used just some plain old invisible tape. To make them stand up, the felt that I used was pretty strong, but to make them stand up, I just took a piece of matching pipe cleaner, cut down to size, and I just used invisible tape to attach that as well. Okay, easy peasy solution. And this is great for tails, arms, legs, feet, ears. Same basic thing, either construction paper, craft foam, felt, and a little bit of pipe cleaner will make it stand up. And invisible tape works very well for this project. It hides very nicely, and it's just strong enough. The other thing is the adhesive usually isn't so strong that if you accidentally misplace something, you can gently remove it without popping your balloon. So for me, this is pretty much my favorite for this activity. For heavier weight materials, like I said, you can of course use duct tape in that situation. Another great idea, if you can get your hands on it, these are double stick foam pieces, and they come attached to, you know, a base, and then they have like they come in squares or rectangles. Sometimes you can get them in like circles. You can get like glue dots too. That's another great option. But any of these three-dimensional type of materials used for like scrapbooking, sometimes for electronics, those are really great. They're stronger than, say, an invisible tape. They give you a little bit of dimensionality, and they work really, really well. Now, once you press them on, they're not coming back off. If you gently just kind of are placing it, you can sometimes get them off, but these can be a pretty strong adhesion once they're stuck on. So make sure that you know that you have them where you want. These are great for heavier weight items. Like if I'm doing lots of, I'm going to do a turkey for you in just a little bit. That one, all those felt feathers, yeah, you may want to go with something more like this to really attach those. So you need your balloons, you need your adhesives. Beyond that, it's just your basic crafting supplies. If you are going to draw on your balloon, you're going to want alcohol-based permanent markers, okay? Be careful with the kids. If they do get it on themselves, you can use a little isopropyl alcohol to get it off their skin. But a water-based marker on a latex balloon, you're just going to get a lot of beading, okay? Now, depending on the quality of your marker, you may get better or worse results. I found that going with a Bic or a Sharpie gave me much better results than, you know, maybe an inexpensive dollar store option. Not that this doesn't work, but let me show you. So, on my example here, okay, the black is done with a Sharpie, and you can see I did one coat, it really coated well, good color. And it bleeds, okay, alcohol markers are going to bleed into one another a little bit. The solvent, you know, that's actually a benefit if you're a scrapbooker because you can, you know, bleed colors together and mix colors a little bit. You may or may not like that effect on your balloon. If you look at the cheek here, you see how you could see a little bit of how it kind of pooled color a little bit and got a little more streaky. You can see with the mouth. I actually purposefully blended colors here. I used a darker color towards the top and a lighter color towards the bottom. But your more inexpensive markers, you're going to have to go over a couple times, and that can lead to some of these kind of effects. Now, you know, maybe you care, maybe you don't. I was not too upset about his cheeks because from far away, I think he still looks pretty darn good. But just know that if you are going to use a less expensive marker, you're going to have to go over your color a couple of times to get a good result. The other thing I want to let you know is when I did these cheeks, I colored in the cheek first with my pink and my red, and then I put the black circle around it because, again, they will bleed. So if you do the black first and then fill it in, you're going to get some of that black bleeding into your color. Again, you might like that effect. That's cool. I'm just letting you know that because ink is not going to dry immediately on your balloon, that's going to be something to take into consideration. So give it a little time to dry. And even if it is dry, it will still blend when you go ahead and add the next color because the color is not absorbing into the balloon like it would on paper. So just be aware of that. So good set of markers, always awesome. Metallics work really fun for this too. So if you want to do Iron Man or something like that, get out those metallic markers and really go crazy. As far as other craft supplies, I mentioned you can use construction paper in lots of different colors, really great. Craft foam, if you have some sitting around, awesome. I love to use felt. I always have scrap felt sitting around. You can, of course, reclaim any of these from old toys. If you want to do a Santa Claus, if you've got an old fuzzy toy or a shirt or a sweater, you might be able to reclaim some materials from that and upcycle them. Other fun things, obviously you're going to want pipe cleaners around, sequins, rhinestones, feathers. We're going to probably put some of these on today too. I'm a big fan of the Google Eyes. I'm going to be using these in just a moment. All of those things attach really well. Last point before we get building, and I know I'm telling you a lot of stuff today. I took the backing from the marker, this kind of thin cardboard, like cereal boxes, cracker boxes, these kind of cardboard. I always save this, and here's why. I'm going to be making some feathers for the turkey, and I want them all to be pretty consistent. So it's easier to trace once on here and use it as a template for all of my feathers. So this kind of thing is great to make those kinds of forms out of or templates out of. You can also, of course, use it for just adding more strength and stability to your creation. So if you want to back felt with this, just use a little bit of stick glue to stick some thin cardboard like this onto your felt. It's great for like feet. It's going to give it a little more strength. So just know that. Keep this stuff around. You know, always have a stash ready to go. Alrighty. So why don't we go ahead and get started actually making a turkey today. I thought we'd go with a classic to add to my collection of balloons, which is starting to take over my office just a little bit, but I'm not complaining. Okay, so I'm going to switch cameras over here, and I'm going to grab my stuff, some of my stuff. All right, so we need to start with our balloons. And I'm going to go with orange for my turkey. And in this case, instead of a single balloon, you can do one. Am I in the center? Yeah. You can do just like one balloon as his face. You can. I'm going to do a two-piece just because I'm feeling in the mood right now. Double checking my time. Okay, we've got about 15 minutes. I can do this. So I'm going to blow one up as my body. Party stores, by the way, dollar stores, they all sell nice little balloon pumps for like very inexpensive. I think the most I've ever paid is $3. So that's great to have on hand, especially if you're worried about, you know, sharing germs. I'm just blowing them up today because I'm sitting here on my own. I'm not affecting anybody. Making one much, much smaller than the first. And again, you don't want to blow these up too much because, you know, you can end up making them pop on you. Sorry. got a little distracted there. The one thing that you do kind of run into, though, is sometimes you get like a little pointiness to the head. See how that one's kind of, you can see that one's kind of pointy, but that's okay. We're going to work with that. Now, I'm going to put the wider part down towards the bottom for this and the larger part towards the top. And this is a great spot for glue dots or foam, these little foam stickers. So you can see I'm just kind of, can you see this? I'm just kind of deciding how I want him to go together. For some reason, I always refer to turkeys as him. It's always Tom. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of put that there. I'm going to take a little bit of, sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold. Not COVID, was tested. Just going to take a little bit of tape and just kind of tape down that part so it's out of my way. I've got my foam here. I'm going to lift up the backing. And I'm getting a lot of static electricity. Ooh, I should tape down. I'm going to tape down this one too. This is just, and I'm just taping down these little bits. You could probably cut them off if you really wanted to. I don't trust myself, frankly. I'm just doing that so that they're kind of less in the way when I go to stick them together. So there we go. So now we've got kind of our basic shape, and you can see that little point? Now it's become a perfect place for my beak. Okay, so you can kind of use that point to your advantage in this particular instance. Wow, I am so staticky today. I have seen people recommend that you can spray your balloons with a little bit of spray starch, and sometimes that will cut down the static electricity. I have not tried that. All right, so now I've got my basic shape of my turkey. I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of feathers for the back. So, as I mentioned, I'm going to use the technique of cutting once. Let me get a marker, making myself a nice template so that all of my scissors are, or all of my feathers are the same. So just kind of taking a look at my bird. How big do I want that feather? I want that feather to be pretty sizable. And I'm just going to do a really basic shape. You may be someone that wants to make your feather maybe a little bit more. Oh, I did not do a great job of keeping that really symmetrical, but this is the nice thing, is that you can kind of play with it until you get it just the way you want it with this. You can, of course, print out a nice feather design. And if you wanted to make your feather maybe more intricate than I'm making mine, go for it. I'm keeping it real simple, partially because I'm here on camera and I don't want to spend a ton of time cutting them out. Now, if you have something like a Cricut machine or a Silhouette, they are great for this because you can just cut all your feathers on the machine nowadays. Those guys will do fabric really nicely and you're good. So that's really, really nice if you have one of those machines available. We do have them in the library. Unfortunately, right now, things like the makerspace and the craft areas are not open, but what are you going to do? All right, I'm just going to round out my top here, and there you go. Now I've got a nice template. I'm just going to go ahead and grab my felt. I'm not going to worry about making this super realistic. I'm just going to cut a bunch of feathers I think look cool. I'm just going to do a rainbow. Can I get one? Oh, yep. And so all I'm going to do is what I do with my marker. Just going to go ahead and just give this a real light trace on my feathers. And cut. Can't be easier than that, right? No, I suppose it could, again, if you have the machine. And again, if you want to be able to shape your feathers, you'll want to either tape, or if you have the time and you're going to want this to be around for a little bit, use a little bit of white glue to stick pipe cleaner to the back. And that will give you the flexibility, but also the rigidity to shape your feathers if you so like. Here we go. I'm going to do a nice little orange feather here. I'm just going to do a couple so that, you know, I would normally do quite a few feathers and really fill them out, but I'm just going to give you the idea because I know that we've got stuff to do today, right? I've got a coding class at 4, so I've got to make sure I'm ready for that. We're going to make little turkey mazes. using code. So that's fun. Oh, and tonight at 7, if you have not already registered, I know that there are still a couple of spots, not many, but a couple spots left for our Abraham Lincoln and Thanksgiving program. We have a historian and Abraham Lincoln impersonator named Kevin Wood, and he has toured all over the world, literally all over the world, talking about Lincoln and his life and what he has done. And he is giving a presentation today on how we came to have the holiday of Thanksgiving here in the country, in America. And he's just a really fascinating person to listen to. So that's taking place over Zoom today at 7. Make sure you go ahead and go to warrenlib.org and register for that program. It's going to be really, really interesting. And it's just a fantastic story of how persistence got Thanksgiving to be a celebrated holiday here in America. We've got a lot of great programs. I know we're kind of winding down a little bit just because we're coming to the end of the year. And people get busy. You know, we're all kind of busy right now, right? Holidays are coming, lots to plan, lots to do. But it's good to take a little time, spend a little time learning, maybe do it together as a family, right? That would be a great thing to do. As a reminder, and I'm just kind of babbling at you while I make feathers here. Almost done. But we are closing early on Wednesday. We're closing at 4:30 instead of 8. So make sure if you need to pick up any materials, you get a curbside appointment nice and early, because we'll be closed through the weekend. We won't open until the following Monday. So just make sure that if you want to get some DVDs to share with the family or pick up a book to enjoy and read while you've got a little time off perhaps from work, make sure that you take care of that now. You don't want to wait. But we'll be back to being open again after the holiday. And each branch is open 1 day a week. Warren, let's see. What is it? Northeast is Monday. Southwest is Tuesday. Headquarters is Wednesday, and Catherine Dixon is open on Thursdays. We're available for curbside Friday and Saturday. And the hours for all the branches are 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for vulnerable populations. So it's a great time for seniors to come on in. And then from 10 to 1, open to the public. 1 to 2, we close to clean. And then we're open again until 8 p.m. So make sure you get in there. And just sometimes a simple act of just browsing books can be really great. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. None of us have any way of knowing, given that the COVID numbers are rising, whether we're going to end up having to close down again. So, you know, enjoy that library while we can. It's going to be a long winter, I think. All right. So now I've got my feathers. I've got my turkey. And I'm just going to kind of stick them on. Now, again, lots of ways I could do this. I'm going to go ahead and just use my foam stickers. But this would totally work if you wanted to use just stick glue would work for this. A little bit of regular craft glue would work. You could probably even just use a little Scotch tape for these. They're just kind of big, so I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I think, how do I want to do this? Do I want to do just a rainbow? I think I'm just going to do a rainbow. So I'm going to stick, what is it? Roy G. Biv. So red, orange, yellow. Okay, so I'm going to do orange and green towards the center, and then we'll go from there. I'm just kind of, again, just sizing them up. You don't have to make it absolutely perfect. He's going to be adorable no matter what. I promise. Because you made it. And it's going to be special and cool because it's uniquely yours. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to get the backing off of this particular piece. Oh no. This is, so like many of us, I've had a little bit of stress in my life lately, which means I have bitten my nails. I messed up, didn't I? I did. See, let me show you. You can get it back off. See? As long as you don't do, really, really press it down, you can still remove it. It's got to be kind of gentle. Because you wouldn't want to get this far and then have, sure I do that the right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Try that again. Is it coming up far enough? See, this is all kind of what you got to play with. Is like, where do I want it to be? I'm going to bring, careful, careful, careful. Oh, I might have stuck this one on a little too. Okay. Whew. That was a little nerve-wracking, wasn't it? There we go. And you just kind of flare out the feathers as you go. Let's see what I'm doing there. Make sure that you put the feathers facing with the undrawn on side facing forward. Otherwise, you end up with the black marker as an outline, and you may not want that. All right, so this is coming along really well. He's almost done, believe it or not. It doesn't take a whole lot to make a fun balloon. I am not good at getting these backings off. I never have been. All right, and there we go. Get my blue feather on there, and you notice how I'm just overlapping a little bit so that they get a little bit more of that fan effect. And you can, like I said, you saw there that you can play with it a little bit. You don't have to get it perfect the first time. It's okay. All right, so there we go. He's got some feathers. And again, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and just add some pipe cleaners to each one to kind of flare them out or whatever you wanted to do. I'm just going to leave them for now. I'm pretty okay with that. I will probably take the time to add some later just to flare them. Now I'm just going to give this guy a little bit of personality. Pretty easy to do. I'm just going to take a bit of my felt. Okay, I'm going to make him a little beak to kind of go where it's naturally already kind of flaring out, so you can see that kind of gives a nice flare. And for that, I'm just going to go ahead and use my stick glue if I can find it. I'm just going to apply the glue along the top, and I know he's kind of big, so it makes it a little tough because I've got a tiny space to work in here. But I'm sure you guys are playing along at home and making it work, right? So I'm just going to hold that on for a bit. And you can, of course, decorate this even further if you like. Just going to kind of hold it until he sticks. And I'm just looking at time, so I'm rushing it a little bit. You may want to be a little more precise about that. Okay, so yeah, that's not sticking as well as I need it to. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go for my foam again. I like the foam. The foam is my favorite. And you can find them at dollar store. No problem. You can find them in a lot of grocery stores. You just kind of have to look around for them. They're really great, with the exception of me trying to get the backing off of them. But again, if I would stop biting my nails, I wouldn't have this problem, right? Kind of bringing it on myself there. Okay, there we go. They have those little mini glue dots that are great for this too. If you're a crafter and you have those around, those are really fantastic for this. I was out of them. I didn't realize. They're usually something I keep around. Anyway, so now you notice they're kind of just over just a little bit like that. I'm just going to trim away any excess so I don't see it, so it doesn't get stuck to other things. There we go. Okay, there we go. Instant stick. So now he's got his, nope, he's not going to behave. This turkey is a mischievous turkey. Now, I mentioned I love Google eyes. I was not kidding. We're going to get some nice, the biggest Google eyes I can find in here. And because I'm having some trouble with my stick glue today, I'm just going to rely on my foam squares again. Buttons work really nicely for this. If you want the eyes to look even bigger and you can't find big enough googly eyes, just go ahead and stick the Google eye onto a button that's like white, and then stick the whole thing onto your balloon, and it will make the eye appear much larger. And that can be a really fun technique to make those eyes really pop. Okay, there we go. Last little bit, I just can't forget a little wattle. That's that little fleshy piece that turkeys kind of have hanging down from their mouths. So there we go. Just a little wattle there. I'm going to stick that in. So let's see, where should we put it? Right about there? What do you think? Looks pretty good, right? Glue. And on that goes. All right, back over. And of course, I could take the time to add little feet and little arms and all kinds of good things. You can go, you know, you can really take your time and have fun with this. But since we are just about at a half an hour, I am going to switch back to the other view. Hello, wonderful people. Cleaning my mess up. Here we go. Here's our happy little turkey. Our happy turkey Thanksgiving Day balloon. And like I said, you can go crazy. Like if I wanted, I'd probably put some more feathers up on here. I'd fill out my feathers. I'd give them some feet. But you get the basic idea. It's pretty easy to have a lot of fun with a couple balloons. Make your own Thanksgiving Day parade balloons. You know, everybody can make one ahead of time and then show them off on Zoom, or make a bunch and make them your centerpiece. Great activity for the kids. Keeps them busy while you're cooking, and give you a fun way to celebrate the holiday. So I hope, and this, like I said, he really needs feet to stay sitting up, but you get the idea. I know that I have lots of creative people out there watching, and that you will make something amazing. And if you do, please, please, please let us know. I'd love an email. My email is sroberts@warrenlib.org. You can post it to Facebook or Instagram and just use the hashtag WarrenLib. We'd love to see your creations. Make sure that you check out our website at warrenlib.org for all kinds of great events. We have lots coming up, adding more every day. So definitely check that out. We have some great arts grants that have been provided for the library. And so we have a lot of really interesting talks coming up. And some great painting, all kinds of wonderful things. Well, I hope that you have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. I hope that you get to spend some time with those that you love and decorate your house and enjoy this time of gratitude. In the meantime, I am Sandy Roberts. I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the Warren County Library System. I hope that you keep crafting and keep making, and I will see you again very, very soon. Take care.